There's been a lot of thread discussion on Steel Soldiers about the transmission interlock stuff. And I wanted to ascertain if, if my transmission lock was working properly. Because, man, do I fight it sometimes. And so, what I got the truck chalked, I got the batteries on. Turns out it doesn't matter if the key's actually on. And so when I push this button, you can hear it activating that cylinder. Now, what is a touch interesting is, there's like 5 seconds of vent off. I'm trying to decide, because boy do I fight it sometimes. And now I know what's going on. Now I know it's the interlock's not releasing. And that's why it'll just boop and go, and boop, it won't go. And so what I'm wondering is if I could get that valving apart and get a few drops of air tool oil down inside there, if that would be enough. Because it seems to me it's got to hiss for 4 full seconds. So that, number one, that might be a thing to do if you're struggling with yours. Is first, obviously chalk the truck, flip the switches on with air pressure, obviously, and see if you can hear it. So you should be able to hear that solenoid. You got a solenoid switch. You have the switch at the end of this, okay, and that could be bad. You have the solenoid, which is down underneath on top of the transfer case, and that could be bad. And then you have the air cylinder itself, which should be venting out of the stack. So you got 3 things in the chain here to deal with. I don't know. Maybe I can get in and oil it. The phone doesn't like the low light down here. Here's your interlock piston, and so if yours is just locked solid, this right here is the line they talk about cracking to hopefully release it. This is the solenoid, the air solenoid right here. So your power comes in over these 2 wires and comes into this air solenoid, and then that unlocks it. That's another one you might consider if you can get a little air tool oil. I wonder what line is the main feed line. We got 2 lines coming out the bottom, 1 line coming out the top. My gut would tell me the single coming out the top is the feed line, because this one coming out the side here appears to come back around to this, which is the actual air cylinder. That's what I think I would try doing, is a few drops of air tool oil, or I suppose even a light engine oil, but I think air tool oil would be more appropriate. If you got maybe a gummy cylinder, and if you got one that's just locked solid into low or high and you can't move it at all, that would be the line you could crack right there. Now in theory you could pull that line off and plug it, and then I'd put like a foam earplug, hey big spider, in this. I'd take this line off, go get yourself a proper plug for it, and then I'd put a foam earplug in this one just so you couldn't get crunk in there, because with no air pressure this is off. Okay, so the air pressure holds it on, and then that way you got nothing. But I'd be a little worried that you might do something like accidentally throw that transfer case and shifter while the truck's in gear, and I don't know what it would do. So I think first thing I'd do is I'd try, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get that line loose, put a few drops of oil in it, and I'm going to try to get this line loose, A few drops of oil, but it's all going to run downhill on both of them. I bet they don't have enough volume to blow that oil up inside. And I don't want to crack these fittings loose. Well, maybe I got to crack the fitting loose. It vents so slowly. And what I think that is that solenoid is just a little gummy. Maybe it's not moving the full stroke. Or this is probably spring-loaded, and maybe this one's gummy, and so it's slow to recover. And maybe a 4-second bleed-off is pretty normal. And to be honest, as far as that's concerned, I don't know without looking at another truck. We're having somebody else test theirs. Oh, wait a minute. There's another interlock piston, air piston down there too. Well, someone was helpful enough to post the diagrams, and that's the interlock for your transfer case shifting. Of course, the shift lever comes in straight in here, and so some sort of ball detent kind of thing going on there. I think. Maybe I have to go back and look. But I think it's that one. I think it's that one right there. So, man, I got no way to get oil in that. I'd be worried about a spray oil. Like a WD-40. I'd be worried about that a little. I guess it's got alcohol in it. And your air dryer lines all have alcohol. So maybe the two wouldn't fight each other. I'd be happier if I get some air tool oil in there. But anyways, there you go. That's the bad boy right there. Here we are. I'm behind the there's the parking brake drum. There's room to come up in here behind. Sorry it's so shaky. But there she be. See, there's the spare tire up there. So help you orient yourself. But I think that if you're struggling, it's this one and this one. And hopefully this will help you guys see, because you know how sometimes those drawings can be a touch hard to interpret. So I'm going to try adding some oil and see if this gets any better. Okay, so I put 4 drops of a light grade oil down inside the interlock piston itself. No effect on how long it hisses. But yeah, definitely works. I can say, at least on mine, if secondary is below 90 psi, the interlock is dead anyways. I thought that was fascinating. So that's why, you know, if you guys are stuck, you can turn the truck off, pump the brakes, and bleed air until you get down below 90. You know, when the dash stuff all dies, and then I found at that point I could shift it easy. So definitely give her 5 seconds before you bounce on her to bleed off. I've proven that my switching gear is working. I can't see a way, short of flooding those lines with oil, and I'm not willing to do it. I can't see a way without unbolting the air solenoid to get oil into that easily. And I'd really wish I had air tool oil, because right now all I got is a light machine oil. So I'm going to call that good. It's if nothing else, if I haven't actually improved anything, at least I much better understand the system and can maybe work around it. Yeah, I put 1 drop on top of that button. That made that a little better. I don't know how to get. See, there's screws right here. So, you know, of all the things in the system that's most likely to fail, it's probably that. So you could pull the 2 screws. This handle will separate. I think you're going to lose your graphic. Maybe you can razor blade it up the middle. And then you can get in there, and I'm sure it's just a very standard switch that you could find an easy replacement if you went to any electrical house. I don't know if there'd be part numbers on it. You can just look them up yourself and mail order one. But I bet you that you could just find that easy enough. Yeah, it's just, looks space, just 2 Phillips screws. No, there's more than that. There's actually a whole bunch of stuff. Hold it on. But anyways, if you push your button with your battery on and your truck fully aired, transmission neutral, wheels chucked, parking brake off, all that good stuff. I'm not sure the parking brake is any related. You should be able to take those and you should be able to hear it, you know, do its thing and venting and whatnot. And then if you can't, my gut feeling is that's the weakest link in the chain, because it's so easy for dirt and crap to get down in there. I take it apart, I'll put a few drops of oil, and I put it back together and try it again. So that's where she sits. Good luck, guys.